We got some spicy patch notes for you straight from the pre-patch podcast. Enjoy.
All right, let's talk about this hot piece of garbage, please. We talked about this a little bit last week, but we actually got hands-on time with XDefiant. So
Yeah, more of me. Sin didn't get too much
I
hands-on time.
couldn't. I couldn't. Like
Uh,
the game legitimately hard it shot my CPU up to 100% every single I uninstalled it, I verified it, I tried finding fixes. It would just I would go to change class immedially, boom, 100% free. The only way I could do it is restart my computer. So
that's tough,
Scruffy,
man. I
you
mean, I've
you
heard of
played
people.
it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say I heard of people, having problems, but that sounds kind of like a you problem.
It's definitely not a me problem because because people
Uh,
are talking about it.
no, the game is jank, y'all. I mean, it's jank. It works better than it has in previous playtests. I mean, we talked about it last week. If you don't know, by the way, this is XDefiant, Ubisoft's newest arcade shooter, um, and it's I don't know, it's okay, man. I'm getting more enjoyment out of it than I thought I would. I've played it in the past in previous playtests, and I thought it was absolutely horrid. It ran like doo doo. It wasn't entertaining. The game modes, the guns, everything. But in this newest playtest, at least, well, it still runs like doo doo, but at least the guns and the gameplay and the maps are a little bit better.
It
there.
it still
Did you
runs
see
like
me
doo doo.
reload? Did you see me reload with my third hand? I swear. So just an example, if you caught that.
It still runs like doo doo. It just
Dude,
runs like hot doo doo.
yeah, I mean it's playable doo doo. But I don't know. I definitely I think it's got promise. It I think it can live up to this like kind of arcade shooter that we don't have nowadays because everything's so like every shooter that we have nowadays has got to have so much ingrained in it, whether it be a wave of battle passes, events, store full of microtransactions that give you boosts and stuff like Modern every shooter that we have nowadays has got to have so much ingrained in it, whether it be a wave of battle passes, events, store full of microtransactions that give you boosts and stuff like Modern Warfare is doing now. And all these little intricate details where it's like you can customize a weapon, but you can add like 10 attachments and plus tuning, plus, all of this other stuff. So this game kind of takes it back a little. It's still got a lot of that, but it's not as like in depth and like it isn't as like convoluted, I guess.
I mean,
But
right now at least, like I guarantee once it
right now
releases,
at
it will.
least. Yeah, I mean,
I don't
only
think it
time will
will.
tell. I don't think it will.
I don't
It's
think
it's
they're.
Ubisoft, bro. Like 100%.
But I mean,
will.
but Rainbow Six is Ubisoft. They're not like crazy in depth with all their
Yeah,
mechanics
but
and all.
Rainbow Six is a hardcore fucking player base that won't accept that. Like 100%, they're gonna
Well,
try it
yeah,
on this.
I don't see them
I don't
going down
know.
the
I don't
route of
think
like
so.
I'm not saying they'll go down a battle pass route, they'll go down a store
They
route
will.
like that. And I'm not
Yeah,
talking about that,
that's
but I don't think
that's
they're
gonna
going to go
happen.
down the route of like trying to make it where they have all of this fine tuning and like overly
Yeah.
complicated systems in the actual
Oh,
gameplay.
I
Yeah.
wasn't talking about that. I was
No,
talking about
they'll have a
fucking
battle pass, they'll have a
They'll
fucking
have
yeah,
all. Yeah, they'll have all that. Every game.
It's free to play. It has to
and
have
yeah,
that.
Yeah,
Oh, for
it-
sure.
it's free to play and it's pulling in player. It's pulling in what's it called factions from every one of their games. Like 100%.
Yeah,
They're gonna have
there's no shot
microtransactions.
a game, a shooter specifically, comes out in today's age and doesn't have a battle pass and all those features. But no, mechanically wise, like I don't think it's going to be overly complicated and saturated with all these like intricate mechanics. But I think that's like a good thing, because it kind of takes it back to like the roots of like the old like early 2000s like shooters, arcade shooters, back to like for me, it's giving me like Black Ops 2 vibes. People are saying like, it's Black Ops 3, kind of Black Ops 4. I just didn't play those, but like, so I'm getting like that old like COD vibe from it. I like that. That's like actually something that's kind of like drawing my attention and I'm enjoying it for what it is. And what I really do think they should play off that as heavy as they can, because I think that's where their market will lie. I don't think they should make this game a competitive shooter more than what, like, you know, just being an arcade shooter is. Like, they have their ranked mode. They can have their ranked mode and still not be a competitive shooter. I'm saying like the pro scene. I don't think they need to get into like all the pro, like, you know, CDL
Like
league, all
esports
that
and
kind of stuff. Yeah, esports. They don't need to do any of that. I don't think. I think they just play off what they have, being, you know, this almost nostalgic timed shooter, um, and just, you know, go with that and thrive off their MTX and their battle pass and all that kind of stuff, and just keep updating the game with new maps and guns and well, maybe operators. I don't know. I don't know how large that market is for like their operators, because I know they're doing like the Splinter Cell and like their other
That's gonna be
games. Maybe,
huge because they can pull from all of their games. They can pull all
yeah,
the
they could
franchises.
yeah, they could even pull like
So
Division now too.
well, they've already got Division.
Yeah,
in
they
there.
have. We don't have
Is
the
that
ones they have. They don't have the. That's the cleaners.
Cleaners? The
Yeah.
cleaners,
The
yeah.
cleaners, they had the
that's right.
cleaners. The healers were from the Division.
No, the
Yeah.
healers are from Far Cry now. They're not in the
Oh,
division
although
anymore.
when I played, the healers were from the Division.
Yeah,
They were
from
throwing out
the hive
like
bombs, right?
the
Yeah.
ball heals and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think what they have is a good solid base. They just really need to work on
I wouldn't say
some
solid.
major. No, I mean for the idea.
Okay.
Yeah. No, what I was going to say is they heavily need to work on their stabilization, their optimization, their tick rate, and their hit reg.
Dude,
Those like 4 key things, if they just nail those, then I think it can actually live in this state of thing. I would never say it would thrive. I don't think it would ever thrive. I think it will live in the state of shooters at the moment.
So you know what? I think with the because I know that you've played like Quake Arena or you've played the Quake or the Unreal games. Like,
Yeah.
it's not as fast paced, but that's what the maps feel like. That's what the pacing kind of feels like as far as
Yeah.
like just the style of it's a shooter. Like it's a Twitch shooter. It's because I don't even like. I think people are saying like, you know, and like you said, like it goes COD and the NW2 and the Black Ops 3 days. I actually think it goes farther back than that. Like it reminds me more
Yeah.
of like the old school like Wolfenstein kind of style days, and they've added in
I don't know about
the
that.
what
I don't know about that. I don't see Wolfenstein and Quake when I'm
I'm talking
watching
about
this.
like the mapping and not like the ability. I'm just talking like the mapping and like the gunplay and like the layout, like the way that it feels to shoot and to move. It feels like those old school arena days.
Yeah.
Whereas with like the thing that I think is a detriment, and I think it's going to be miserable for them to do, is the balancing, because they have the class systems. Like
Yeah.
the healers
Yeah.
are fucking way
already
too
you're seeing
overextended.
the healers are crazy.
Yeah, you guys were already talking about last
Yeah.
week where you were saying the healers were just like overpowered as shit, and that's
Yeah.
gonna you're gonna have that kind of a situation when you go down a hero shooter route.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's where the game actually falters, in the sense that, to me, I don't know why they necessarily need to lean into that.
I don't
like they could have just said
I
these-
don't I've always said that as well from when it first released, was like I don't understand why they went with a hero shooter. They could have stuck with the theme that they wanted to go with, where it was like you're playing as like the different factions from the different video games, and not made it a
Yeah, it's
hero
just
shooter.
skins.
You
It's
could
just
have
skins,
just
you
been
know?
skins. Yeah.
You know, and maybe you could make it to where like these guys have like an EMP grenade, you know, or something, you know, maybe something
I
along
think they
those
could have gone
lines,
down
but-
a route of like what Battlefield 2042, you know,
For
is
sure,
doing
yeah.
with the
Right.
specialists. It's nothing like overly created with like ultimates and abilities and all that kind of stuff and
Well,
cloaking.
Battlefield
Um,
42, when it first released, had a really bad issue with once as well for some of
Well,
those.
you had
if I
like
remember
Pike, that was a
correctly.
problem. You had like the
Yeah.
Yeah.
healer, you know.
yeah,
they've
but
I don't
still,
know
it
if
wasn't.
I don't know if they fixed that in the recent seasons or not.
Oh yeah, it
but-
has.
It's gotten better.
It's
Yeah, it's gotten a lot
yeah.
better.
Yeah.
That's good.
But still, like compared to this, like they didn't have all these special abilities and quirks to the kit, to the specialists, you know, the characters. So I think they could have went down that route. I will say at least, it seems like they've toned it back a little bit, and maybe it might just be from like the earlier play tests. When I played the earlier ones, like I felt like people were popping abilities left and right, and it was just like, that's like at
They
that
were,
point, like it's like
yeah.
Overwatch, you know. Now it's a little more like focused on the shooting and with like a side of like abilities. granted, still there's going to be that balancing because there still is going to be those abilities that are overpowered. You know, with the healers and
do
the alts
think
and stuff, but the alts don't charge as fast, and so you're not seeing abilities like popping off left and right every which way, which I can kind of I like that more.
I do think it
I
would
dig it.
I do think it would be more not indicative, but I think it would be more of a beneficial route for them to go down, getting rid of the hero shooter and just going down
I think
skins
so too.
personally.
I,
But
yeah,
Yeah.
I just think
I
it should
just
be a
don't-
shooter. And the other thing that I don't understand either, too, why they chose to do this, is they leaned into adding attachments that give like, a 0.5% or 5% like ADS
Yeah, there's some
speed.
weird.
Like, I just don't understand it. Like, I don't get like it is okay. And this is actually what I'm most excited for about playing Dead Island 2 because which comes out tonight, but is because
17 minutes.
it is literally a game that
epic
is
chills.
oh my god, that it's going back to like, you know what? We're taking away all the stuff. We're not going to do open world. We're not like I think they overcomplicated it. Like just give me a shooter
Yeah.
where it's I can put on a silencer, I can
Yeah.
put on an optic and I'm done. And I can put on maybe
And
a
that's
mag.
what I was saying. And I'll say like this game, it still has that, but it's still nothing compared to like,
Not
all these other
COD
shooters
or anything,
and stuff we have today. So I'll give them props for not being absurd in that aspect, but I still agree that it could do without.
Especially when you're talking about Ubisoft, who notoriously has balancing problems. Like,
Oh yeah.
I think adding more
Siege
stuff to
hasn't
that
been
is-
balanced ever. It's always gone through like metas and
Yeah,
changes.
I don't think like to me, I think that this is a game where we actually could have gone and leaned into like it's a skill versus like I think that's what does CS Counter-Strike so well because it really is like you have to learn the maps and the spray pattern,
Maps, the patterns, yeah.
but at the end of the day, it's skill versus the gun. Like at a certain point, there like and the sniper in this needs to be fucking tweaked. Like it's there's no flinch and it's an instant one-shot kill. And people, when we're talking about like COD right now, where people are wanting a one-shot sniper, and then you can come to this and get a one-shot sniper, it's the balancing on it is completely overpowered. Like it's ridiculous, and it leans itself for cheating. The mounting system in this is not good.
The mantle.
Yeah,
Is
the
that-
mantling system.
Oh god, it's horrendous.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that I think is wrong. This is, what this cast honestly feels like? It feels like we talked about Kick, where they're hitting on just one specific thing and they're banking on that. This is like everybody is so sick and tired of like the BRs and all these over the top kind of crazy shooters,
Yeah.
and they're banking on like we're an arena shooter, we're taking it back,
Yeah.
and it's not
And they're
good.
banking on all the hate that COD's getting.
Right. So it's not great. It's not phenomenal, but it's because the only other option that we have is this
Yeah.
shitty game. We're kind of like, oh, well, this is great, right? Like I'm going to play this because it feels good, like
Yeah.
it's,
And it's not great, but that's all we have.
right. That's it, which is kind of crazy. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to say anything else about XDefiant.
I like we already covered most, a lot of it last week too. So I mean, I don't know. I'm at least enjoying this playtest among the other ones. So I am open to it now than more so than I was before. So we'll see with future playtests. I don't even know how close this game is to being
Who knows?
released. I have no
Who
idea.
knows?
Knowing Ubisoft, it'll get canceled. or they'll just continue to push it back like Skull and Bones.
Very, very plausible. Who knows, man?
Yeah.
We hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Patch Notes, and let us know what you think about XDefiant down below in the comments. Also, if you are wanting to catch this live, we do this every Thursday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, both on Twitch and YouTube Live. And if you want, you can catch us at anchor.fm/prepatch podcast or listen wherever podcasts are listened to. Much love.